Hey everyone, so today I've got a deck profile of something that I'm trying to make good. Um, Little fair warning, this is all theory because I haven't been able to test this deck. I just got back from that regional. So I wanted to build something that I thought could be fun and something that you don't see any of really, and that's this poor guy right here who's got some really cool art and a fantastic effect. He just doesn't have a whole lot of good cards to make use. In Corona. So, Mono Red got a little boost recently because of Ruka, which we'll get into here. This deck was the, only aggro deck really after set 1 was released, and set 2 came out, and we got a bunch of aggro cards, but nothing that really helped Red. But this is my best attempt to make it somewhat playable, and then maybe you guys can make some minor tweaks to it, or maybe even some major tweaks. But this is my attempt at Mono Red. Starting us off, so we have a lot of 1-drops, okay? The first one is Glittering Whelp. So we want to increase our hand size. He's a 1-drop for 500, which isn't great, but scouting is not bad in this deck. You definitely want to try and break towers as fast as you can, but the 500 boost, the 500 power is definitely a downside to this, but drawing a card is very good. The revealing 2 dragon cards, I usually hate cards that reveal cards in your hand, but this deck does not care. It pretty much pukes its hand on the board. So you need as much cards in your hand, as many cards in your hand as you can get. So this helps to that strategy, and that's why we're playing it. Next is Scarlet Egg. I mean, this is your searcher. It helps you get out Juvenile Dragon if you don't have it in your hand, and or a Booster Dragon to boost up something that is, something like 500, like the Glittering Whelp that we just saw. So this is still a good card because it searches the deck, right? Next, we have the Juvenile Dragon, which is one of your better cards in the deck. Being able to gain quickness if you have 2 or other dragons on the field is very nice, and it plays into Great Behemoth, which we obviously play in this deck because we have a lot of 1 and 2 drops. So being able to be a 2000 quickness monster is fantastic. We also run the 3 Deranged Dragon. The 1 cost, 1000 power dragon is very nice. The fact that he has to attack doesn't really matter. You don't see a whole lot of guardians in this format, so him getting in free attacks each turn is pretty much going to go unblocked anyway. And then the last of our 1-drops is actually Raging Shardbeast. We play a lot of low-cost options, and then our higher-cost options we want to try and cheat out with Raine. So his downside here, the not being able to play cards with cost 3 or more, you get around that by kind of cheating things out with Raine anyway. So he's your big guy. You want to play him turn 1, and you want to give him quickness with Corona and start searching for that red tower. The red tower is especially important in this deck because of a card that we'll get into here in a second. For our 2-drops, we play the 3 Booster Dragon. Being able to give something 1000 power is pretty important in this deck, especially if you don't see your Great Behemoths, to break those towers. So Booster Dragon is in there to give things, pun intended, a boost to break specific towers. So still a very good card, and searchable off of Scarlet Egg to give something like Juvenile 1000 boost whenever it just came into play. For our other 2-drop is Ruka. This is the whole reason why you play Mono Red. Being able to continuously flip up your Corona to give things quickness is a huge benefit. This having Brawler is, I guess, nice. The Brawler ability is nice because it essentially gains a type of quickness, right, to flip up your Corona that turn. So Ruka is the main reason why you play mono red, so we're obviously playing 3 in here. Next, we're playing 3 Voidfire Dragon. This card is actually really good in here. It's one of the ways that you banish your Blazewalkers, and it kind of just rinses and repeats, itself to being able to use Raine over and over. So getting this in the grave early is important for this deck, for Raine specifically. You want to continue to try and loop Raine to cheat things out. And this is also why destroying the fire tower is so important, because it doesn't get this effect unless you have the fire tower. Next, we're playing 2 Blazewalker Fang. Being able to expel this with Entreat the Blazewalkers, which we also run, is really nice because it makes all of your 1-cost dragons free. So definitely a nice addition. We do play the 3 Rao Wyvern Rider, mainly because you can cheat it out with Raine. It has quickness, so it can attack that turn, and whenever it's destroyed, you also get another little baby unit. It'd be really nice if this was a dragon. It's not, but anyway, you can't always get what you want, as the Rolling Stones say. But being able to be cheated out with Raine, 4-cost quickness, very good. So plays into the strategy perfectly. We do play 2 of Dragonholt the Bold. You can cheat it out with Raine, which is really nice. Dealing the 1,000, I guess, could probably come up in some instances to save yourself against some annoying Reprobloom tokens. But the main reason you play it is because being able to have your dragon units be untargetable. The big one is against Kaze. If you have 2 or more dragons and your opponent can't Kaze your dragons, to kind of save themselves to get to the later game is really nice. So this card's really good, in theory. Again, I haven't tested this deck, enough to see if it's viable, but just in theory, this card seems very good. And then the card I've been talking about this whole time is Raine. When it's expelled, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a dragon unit or Blazewalker, you put it into play. So yeah, I think over, 70% of your deck is that. So he's going to most likely get off. There's a couple cards in your deck that don't work, but most of the time, when you expel him, he's going to cheat out a dragon, for sure. So the only spells we play are actually Entreat the Blazewalkers, and this is purely for Raine. And then, on certain occasions, Fang, for sure. If you already used Raine, or if you open Raine, then you have the option to go into Fang, but mainly you're going to Entreat for Raine to try and get that first turn, dragon onto the field and start poking for damage. And then for our colorless, because we run so many 1 and 2 drops, we obviously want to run those great behemoths to make our little weenie dragons big. So he plays perfectly into the deck strategy. And our last 2 cards are Eccentric Visitor, so it's a little more costly Ruka, but a guaranteed Ruka, where Ruka needs to attack to actually get her effect. As soon as this comes out onto the field, it flips over your spirit. So you're essentially playing 5 Rukas, giving a bunch of things quickness, and trying to destroy towers and kill your opponent as fast as you can. So that's the main deck, guys. I'll show you the towers and the shards real quick. So for our shards, we run the 6 basic as always. We run the 3 Wyvern Crystal. This is really good in this deck because it's one of the key ways, one, to get back, stuff like Juvenile Dragon for more attacks. And also, it's one of the key ways to get Voidfire Dragon into the discard zone. So you can start banishing, Raine or the Fangs in your hand to give additional things quickness. So, Wyvern Crystal is really nice in this deck. It's a great addition. It's like one of the first times I've actually enjoyed being able to play this card. So that's nice. And for our special shard, I wanted to try out Kyte. Mainly because you have a bunch of 1-drops and you need additional dragons on the field for Juvenile Dragon. To get that 1 extra shard per turn seems kind of good. So I wanted to try this out. Fizzy Shard also seems like a decent idea. You don't really need the Corona Shard, so it's either Kyte or Fizzy. So what I want to try out is Kyte. So let's see how it goes. And for the towers, guys, same as always. Just the 5 originals, you know, no reason to play anything different. So that's the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below on, you know, maybe some things that I missed or what you think of the deck. You know, is it viable? Maybe go test it out and let me know, you know, how it did. Because I'd be very interested to see if it's something that could work. I think the build is a decent start. It's a decent core. So if you have some other ideas to kind of fine tune it, I'd really like to know. But as always, like, comment, subscribe. Zeppelin out.